Hey, how's it going? Welcome to another episode of Lost Like Mike. I'm your host, Mike Gonzalez. Good to see you. Thanks for coming by and visiting. Thank you for subscribing. And thank you for the messages at lostlikemike@gmail.com. I should really put that down on the bottom for those who watch it, because, I don't know, figured reinforced visualization, right? Anyway, I appreciate those messages. I like responding and making it a symbiotic two-way street kind of experience. Anyway, I'm starting to record this episode later in the evening. I assure you I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole of switching days and getting caught up in all kind of distractions. It's just been that kind of day. It might end up being the crux of this whole entire episode, because I haven't been able to think or do much more of anything else recently. It brought to mind this idea. My wife had a problem yesterday, and it's this ongoing problem that she has. And I'm not really speaking out of school. I mean, she wouldn't mind me talking about it, but sometimes when she eats, she has a problem. Something happens and the food doesn't go down. Or it doesn't go down past, the entryway of the esophagus, right? Somehow it gets lodged, and it gives a sensation that she's having a hard time swallowing. She's not choking per se. She can speak, but when she tries to swallow it, it doesn't really work, and she starts to feel really sick. And then she continues to try to dislodge it, and then usually in the past, it just, or every time that I've seen, she'll get up and I'll say, oh, she's got to deal with that situation again. And then she'll go do whatever she has to do. And then she'll come back and say, yeah, that sucked. And I'll be like, I'm sorry that happened. Okay, move on. But last night it happened, and she couldn't resolve it. She couldn't fix it. It just seemed like it was getting worse. And so I'll pause the story right there. It's not something that I've experienced before. So relating to her has been difficult. And, you ever heard the expression where somebody says, you don't know what it's like, and you couldn't imagine what it's like. Usually it's something, like I watch it on my TV shows all the time. It's that sort of cliched statement where it has to do with like a loss of a child, or like a spouse or a loved one, and you don't know what it's like. You know what I'm saying? But in a very real sense of the term, I don't. All the things that you want to say, I've learned a long time ago, I can't give, any practical advice of any sort of level. I don't know, gargle salt or something, or so I started looking it up online when it just was going on, and I realized this to myself that, I think early on I used to tell her, it's, maybe, I don't know, what describe what's happening. Maybe I could figure out something, and it's like, no, dude, you don't. And it's like, oh, yeah, I don't know. I don't really know what's going on. Are you choking, or does you have the sensation of, you're talking, so you're breathing. You know what I'm saying? It's just all one big farce. But anyway, last night I started Googling and trying to figure out some sort of way of helping, because it was, I mean, this was like, it had been over an hour of her trying to rectify her situation and make herself feel better. And I felt just horrible. Like I couldn't, powerless. Like what, I don't know what to tell you, man. I know it's miserable, but you know, I'll do whatever it takes. You know what I'm saying? Like even at one point, I was looking up online of what to do when the situation happens where food gets lodged in the upper part of the esophagus. And some of the suggestions were like sodium bicarbonate. And so like I said, I'll go to the store. I went and bought some Alka-Seltzer. And we tried different things. So I was drinking sodas, and when I say drinking, she was attempting to, you know, to drink a little bit, and it would, you know, come back out. And it was a real nightmare, man. And I was trying to give her practical advice about, you know, the amylase and the different digestive fluids that are, you know, stomach acid and things, whatever that are, as we speak, combating whatever it is that's lodged, and you know. But anyway, she said, well, I'm just gonna try to lay down. And then it was like in the middle of the night, she just said, I'm gonna go to the emergency room because you know, nothing's working. And this is, you know, scaring or threatening, or like, it was, you know, scary. Because there was online literature, and I'm not saying to believe everything you read. Obviously, everybody's a doctor when they get to WebMD, but several articles were referring to like food stuck in the esophagus, and any extended duration of time being, you know, where you can have lasting damage to your esophagus. So, but she didn't want our daughter to have to deal with all that. So she was like, just watch over the child, and I'm gonna go and see what's up, see if they can offer some advice or whatever. And I couldn't sleep. I tried. You know, you have that sort of, I do have that frame of mind. I do have that way of thinking that you need to take care of yourself so that you can take care of those around you. It's very important. You know, when they say, like, when you're, obviously I would never fly in a plane, but you know, they'd say use the oxygen on yourself first, and then because you have to negotiate the situation, right? You have to like figure out what to do, and have your faculties, right? Okay, anyway, I just know that it's important. So I know, I was like, I have to go to sleep, I have to get rest, I have to be good for my kid, you know. But I assumed that she was going to be back in a couple hours. We have, you know, medical facilities in within our general area, and so she would message me periodically, and I only checked the phone because I was not sleeping, or not being able to fall asleep with any sort of real quality REM. So, and she was saying, you know, things like I haven't been seen, or like I'm still waiting, or so what ended up happening in the first part is that she went to the emergency room, and they looked at her, they did what they could, and they said that they needed to refer her to a hospital that had a gastro doctor that was on site and was going to be able to see her. At least that's what they, you know, that's what they said. So they sent her to a hospital in the city, because we live in a small town. And they proceeded to lose her in the system. So the plan was, and it was going to be this sort of covering all contingencies. She said, if I'm not back, if they hold me for whatever reason, or if they this gastroenterologist or whatever this upper GI doctor was going to review her case, and if she needed a procedure, then they would schedule it, and she'd have to do it, like stay there for it. So the plan had always been, if she didn't show up by the daytime, that we were going to keep my daughter back from school, because they go to school together. My wife teaches at her school, and by the circumstances of everything, that my daughter was not going to understand that mommy was here 1 minute and now she's gone, and she's where? She's at the hospital. What's going on? You know what I'm saying? Like, it was just, we just felt like it was too much to put on her, you know. So sure enough, here comes the morning, and they hadn't even seen her. She had driven herself to the hospital in town, and she was like, I was on drugs, so I don't even remember really getting there, right? So already I'm like, what are you doing, dude? Like, and she was like, I should have taken the ambulance. I was like, well, way to save money, you know what I'm saying? But I didn't say that. I wouldn't say that. That's not cool. But anyway, they lost her file. Apparently, after 5 hours of her sitting in a hospital room, her mom called the administrators of the hospital and asked what's the deal. And a doctor came in at hour 6 and said, oops, they had put you in one room on paper and we lost you. So, and like the whole time she was in there, in this hospital room, which it makes sense if they didn't know somebody was in that room, but I suspect that they did. The nurse saw that she was in the room, but the nurse was doting onto this other patient that was in the shared room. Like, do you need a blanket? Can I get you pillows? How are you doing? You feeling okay? Are you in pain? Can I get you something? You know, just super attentive to this person, while my wife's sitting there choking on herself and being like, you know, dehydrated, haven't had a drink, you know, all night. I'm not saying you're Sahara Desert dehydrated, but I mean, you can't get a drop of water down, you know, it's, and you feel like you're choking since 8 p.m. and it's like the next day, you know what I'm saying? So it's been 11 hours or what have you. So, so they tell her at that point, when they finally do recognize that she's in the building and she's been waiting for 6 hours in their facility, all right, we're going to schedule, the doctor's going to come in here and he wants to do a procedure. So, but it's going to knock you silly and you're not going to be able to drive home. We don't know what time the procedure is going to happen, but, you know, so my daughter was tripping all day, wanting to be there for her and wondering what's going on and how everything's going. And so she was excited at the prospect of going down to pick up my wife, her mom. And so long story short, we had an Uber down into the city to drive home, so we could drive the car back. And it was a weird situation, because when I got there around 4:30, and she had said that she had been telling him forever, like, just give me the discharge papers and let me get out of here, right? IV still sticking out of her arm with nothing hooked up to it, just this wire hanging out of her arm. And she's just like, and then, you know, the nurse was there. She said, all right, look, I'm gonna get you the discharge papers, no big deal. And you have to understand that she had been there since the previous, you know what I'm saying, night. This has been like an all day, all night ordeal. So we wait, and it's like 4:45, 4:50. So it'd been like another 15, 20 minutes, and nothing. Just, so she's like, I need you to go out to the hallway. And like, she was put into a room, sharing the room with like a woman whose whole family was there. And she needed sleep. She needed rest. And when I tell you that this woman's phone was going off nonstop, but just in the time that I was there, you know, there to pick her up, this woman's phone went on like 4 or 5 times. And it was like, better doom doom, 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 and nobody would answer it until like the, you know, and I'm doing the only ringtone that I feel is recognizable to you. So, I mean, not like a, but this fool's phone was like loud. I mean, obnoxious loud, like the kind you put on it when like your spouse tells you, you better answer, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't care if you're in a meeting, I want to hear, you better answer, you know, that kind of loud. Foghorn Leghorn, it was loud, dude. And this thing would go off like 3 or 4 times just in the time I was there. And she said this woman had family coming in and out of there all hours, all day. So they had the curtains closing her off from everything, and she was just unable to sleep, unable to recuperate. It's like, why are you at a hospital? Anyway, so she's like, do you think you can go out to the hallway, see if you could flag down this person and just tell them, you know, come on. And I went out there once. I waited like 5 minutes, couldn't see nobody. Came back in. And then she's like, and it was like, I need you to be like adult time. Now it's time for you to be like adult man time. So I went back out there and I saw she was like, I'm going to call the doctor again, I promise. I said, look, I need you to come in here and take this IV out my wife. And she's ready. And she said, no. And I said, you bring the papers that say that we don't care about your doctor. We're just going to go ahead and go. And I said, she wants to go now. And she said, all right, I'll be right back. And she brought the head nurse over. And they were like, we paged the doctor. And we're like, we paged the doctor 3 times, yo. Like, it's been from 4:30. I said, just in the time I've been here, it's been over, it's been over half an hour waiting just to get discharged. You said the papers were already printed. Oh yeah, well, we've been paging. You paged the doctor 3 times, fool. Like, we need to go. Like, so the head nurse was like, look, I promise you, give me 10 minutes. And sure as shit, the doctor comes in on the mark at the 10-minute mark. Oh, you know, so and so, whatever, la la la, and then gives this little speech, and then he dips. And we're like, for real, like, we know the doctor's already been in here. I want the damn papers. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's been over 40 minutes. And then let me tell you something. This one nurse comes in, and I had not seen her the whole time, but she was a type. She came in wanting a confrontation, like daring us to say something. You know what I'm saying? So, like, for example, we're waiting on this discharge papers. She's standing there with her hands in her pockets, like almost holding her arms, like we're in trouble. Well, you know, it's been hectic. Bitch, it's been over 12 hours. Can you just get your shit together long enough to get a piece of paper to me? Thank you. You know what I mean? We're not asking for much. And by the way, who are you and why are you in this room? Well, get the peace, man. Like, you ain't nobody. You don't know what the situation is. You think that in this new age of bust out your camera phones and let's go TikTok famous, get the fuck out of here. Come on. Bottom line was, she had nothing to do with it. And then come to find out, the head nurse comes back and she goes, I appreciate your patience, with just a hint of condescension, And I was like, all right, cool. She goes, she has her sign or whatever, you're good to go. And so she's coming out with the rest of us. And we weren't like dicks about it. We were just like, all right, what's up? And she said, just to ask you, how long was your wait? And my wife misunderstood, and she said 33 minutes because in her mind, she said, from the trip to the hospital to the ER. Like, was it a long drive? That's what she heard in her head. She's tired. She didn't understand. And the head nurse was like, oh, well, that's not too bad. And I stepped in and I said, no. She's asking you how long you've been here at this hospital. How long was your wait from when you were downstairs to here? And she said, oh, well, it was 5 hours from the time I got put into a room before somebody came and spoke to me. And then she was awestruck. Oh, man, I can't believe that. And the doctor didn't come back for another hour. So nothing was addressed until 6 hours after I got here to the emergency room and put into a room already in a room for 6 hours. Oh, I can't, Oh, that's incredible. I'm so sorry. Oh, yeah, well, tell that to your bitch nurse that came in there, looking for a fight. Like we were out of line for wanting to get our discharge papers after waiting for an hour and paging a doctor 3 times. Well, it's been busy. Okay. 12 hours busy? Okay. 14 however many hours? Shit. All right. Well, you just gotta be careful when you want to step on that bad customer service button. You know what I'm saying? Like when you think you're in the right to shit on somebody because they're having a bad experience, or you think it wasn't as bad as, as it couldn't possibly be that bad that they could come out like this. You know what I'm saying? And all the while, my daughter's right there. She's being patient. She's looking at her phone. She's been sitting there for an hour. My wife's sitting there all nauseated and wanting to just go home, wanting to have been gone home since nobody's done nothing for her since hours before. Like they were done since she already finished with her procedure. It's just, and then I said, and she doesn't even know the full extent of it, that head nurse. She doesn't know that you were ignored for those 5 hours when you were in there. And then she says, my goodness, you were in there for 5 hours choking and not having. And she said, no, ma'am. I was there for over 12 hours from last night at 8 o'clock and still choking, over 12 hours later, sitting there waiting for somebody to help. You know what I'm saying? And I get it. It's an emergency room downtown. There's probably idiots of all shapes and sizes ODing or shot or stabbed or hit by a vehicle, who knows what. But it's still inexcusable to have that attitude after all that. No, in full knowledge that it was the mistake of the hospital misplacing a person. Not to mention, like, come on, if you get the closing remarks from the doctor and says, peace be with you, be gone, sign the goddamn discharge papers already. Why not? Why wait? You know what I mean? And you only deal with that patient after somebody calls the administration and says, what's the deal? 5 hours? My daughter's still waiting. Oh, well, let's figure it out. Okay, cool. Oh, you've been waiting an hour for discharge. Oh, the husband has to go outside and say some shit. Say we want to get out of here. Let's go right now. And now all of a sudden, whoop-de-doo, now we can get you out of here in 10 minutes. Okay, well, that just sounds like I'm upset or whatever, but still, it's that adult stuff. I hate that that's what it feels like, but people seem to get away with whatever they possibly can on those that they possibly can. for as long as they possibly can, until somebody has to like raise a fuss, and then all of a sudden they figure their stuff out. On a lighter note, right now I had to go pick up medicines for my wife, and some chicken broth soup, and she's already asleep. She's knocked out. She just had to take her pills and a little bit of Gatorade for the electrolytes, and she's going to be sleeping. But I had to buy a couple items and pick up her from the pharmacy. So I was on my own for dinner, so the line was all the way out for one fast food joint, and I said, well, I guess I'm going to Wendy's. And Wendy's was on my mind. Here's the thing. I went off on Wendy's commercials a few episodes ago because I can't stand abbreviations, and I hate it I hate the word nugs. And they have this disgusting couple commercials that talk about, like, if your friends say they have nugs tossed in sauce, they're lying or whatever, and like nugs, and I hate the whole idea. So I said I'm boycotting them for a little while because I hate the commercial. And so I was in line at Wendy's and feeling super guilty that I was about to get my Baconator. Even as I'm talking about the Baconator, my dog's mad at me. She's looking at me all of a sudden like, wait, you didn't come home with it. No, dog, I ate it in the car on the way home because I know you were going to want some. Yep, that's right. Don't be mad at me. Because I didn't want your drool on my feet. Okay? Why you better not show teeth at me. Do you understand what I'm saying? No, don't knock over these cameras. Oh, good girl. Good girl. She smelled it when I got home too. I had the Wendy's drink, and she was smelling at me going, did you dip yourself in ketchup or something? What's up with you? You smell good. But yeah, I had no evidence, no trash, just the drink. But anyway, yeah, so I had to ask myself whether or not it was effective marketing because Wendy's was on my mind, or just me betraying my own self and just wanting to get something, on the way home, so I didn't bother them. God, you breathe heavy, dog. Why don't you go lay down? Everybody that's listening at home that's not watching the video thinks that maybe I breathe heavy. All right. Hey, you knock over my setup and I'm going to bite you. Good girl. Look at you getting all quiet. Okay. Anyway. What did I write up there? Anyway. So that's what I've been doing for the past, I guess 24 hours. So I didn't get to go to work today. And here's the thing. We're only on Wednesday of the week. And coming up I knew that I was going to be needing to do my doctor's appointments on Thursday. So I already had planned to have the day off on Thursday, tomorrow. I'm not going to work because I'm going to my doctor's appointment for my, my situation with my throat and different things. So I already had the plan to, for testing and all that. But I felt early in the week, like I felt on Monday, that this week was just, something was squirrely about it. Like just not, something was just weird. And it was more than just the Thursday thing. So I just haven't felt right. You ever have those days or where just you don't feel right? You're going into whatever the day or the week or the experience, and you're thinking, something's off. Something ain't right. I don't know what's going on. Well, that was me this week. I've just, something's in the air. They say there's a lot of full moon, like different moons or whatever. I don't know, whatever. As I drink out of my soft drink from Wendy's, grr, I'm so ashamed. Anyway, but I did not plan on missing today. So I'm all the way off. Usually I'll take some time during my lunch on Wednesday and I'll think about the different things that I want to talk about on the podcast. I'll talk about different odds and ends. I know recently I wanted to talk about watching too many seasons of Criminal Minds. I did briefly touch on that, but I felt like I didn't really like. I said I was gonna offset my experience by watching some comedies or something, some different things. I watched this one movie with John Cena and Aquafina. Called Jackpot. I mean, it's one of those. There was a much better use of the idea. There was this other movie. I feel bad because I don't know the guy's name, but he played a guy who just had to make it 24 hours, and he would get all this money, and so the gimmick with that movie was that he had to stay next to somebody or if he was by himself, then they would kill him. It was a cute movie. It had him, and I wasn't prepared to talk about that movie, so I don't even know. It'll be like, it was the guy from New Girl, and it was the girl from that singing movie. It's just trash, man. I'm sorry. That's just high quality podcasting right there when I don't even know what the hell I'm talking about. But maybe his name's Jack. It'd be nice if I had my iPad next to me, but that's another thing. My daughter commandeered my iPad. She's been using it because there's some problem with the port on hers for charging port. And then the other morning I went and I was like, I'm going to need that. And she just looked up at me and she said, "It's mine now." And there was something weirdly convincing about the way she said that it no longer was my property. Anyway, but yeah, I would look it up. But so I really want to say one of their names at least and not fail. But what's that? Anyway, wrong rabbit hole. We'll stay on task. So I watched this movie with John Cena and Aquafina, and I had liked this other movie that Aquafina was in, where she played a quiz show contestant with this, and it was a very cute movie. So I decided to give this one a shot too, and it was good, mindless fun. A lot of kung fu, a lot of fighting, a lot of silliness. I think who's that guy? Oh my God, I'm the worst. Machine Gun Kelly was in it, and with some fantastic self-deprecating humor. I always enjoy a little bit of that. When somebody of his celebrity doesn't take himself too seriously, and he makes a few jokes at his own expense. They knocked him out with a tranquilizer, and he was asking somebody to find out what kind of tranquilizers those were, because he enjoyed the experience of getting knocked out. I mean, it wasn't laugh out loud funny, but it was that's funny. But anyway, you ever watch the bloopers at the end of movies? Sometimes they do that. They used to do it with Will Ferrell movies, and sometimes those were super funny. Because Will Ferrell's one of those guys that he's so funny that, you know what I mean? Like, you're probably not going to get the best take, the funniest take, probably because everybody's going to just break character and laugh. But so some of the funniest stuff is, you know, in those behind the scenes reels. But anyway, I don't like watching those normally. I don't like bloopers. To me, it's like they messed up, and I don't want to see that. It's so stupid that I'm like that way. But I usually fast forward. I always tell my wife, hey, go ahead and kill it whenever it gets to the end of a movie, out of fear that there will be a blooper reel. Is that funny? I don't know if it's true to anybody else but me, but there it is. Little confession for you. I don't like blooper reels. Ironically, I do like it when there's like clips of things on like YouTube Shorts or like on TikToks or whatever, like when they just show like people slipping and falling, and I've gotten to sort of, I'll be okay with that. I used to not like that at all. I super hate it if the person gets hurt. Like there was, like, I saw one and the person just gets, like, they showed one where the guy was skateboarding down this thing, and he falls off and tumbles and stands up and does 2 steps into the street and then gets hit by a car. And I always say, oh no, that's fake. That's not real. Because I don't want to really believe that that's what I'm looking at. I would never watch something like Faces of Death or whatever, like Get Out of Town. Like, and if you don't know what that is, don't even look it up, because there was this thing in like I guess it was maybe the late 80s, the early 90s, where they would have like, they were trading around VHS cassettes or like footage of like people getting killed or in moments of death. The most morbid bullshit. And it was the first time that I discovered that people were really sick and twisted, because it would sell like hotcakes, and they were like, you know what I mean? Like, people love that stuff. Like, it's that phenomena that you hear about where they say like, people watch this footage and things of people getting in accidents or hurt or killed, and like it has millions of views when it's, you know, real. You don't know what's real anymore on anywhere. It's ridiculous. But so I'm fine pretending that it's not real. But I've seen some where like there was this one little girl. They were doing this thing where they're getting off the bus, and she totally misses the step and face plants, pass off the bus onto the asphalt. And I mean, real. And too young, or like not smart enough to know to put the hands up. You know what I mean? I've told that story already. It bears repeating, but I'll just say the end of it. Where I was walking up the stairs in the 8th grade, and I had a denim jacket, and so one of my hands was in my pocket of my jacket, and one of my hands was holding my books. And I was walking up the stairs like if James Dean like had a library card, and I was just walking up real cool like, and the crowds, the hallways were really crowded, and I kicked forward when I got to the top of the stairs, when I thought it was the top of the stairs, and I kicked a step that I didn't know was there. And so I went up with my hand that had my books in it. I went up with the other hand that had my hand in the jacket, and I looked like I was trying to keep myself vertical by flying, and I couldn't grab onto a pole or, you know, like a rail or whatever. And I face first planted pass in the hallway in the middle of, and it was worse than people clapping. It was worse than people laughing. Nobody acknowledged it at all. I just laid there, flat on the floor, nobody helping me up, except for Mr. Bird, the teacher. He was this big man. He came out of the classroom. Boy, you all right? And I was like, no, dude. Like not okay. Nothing about this moment is okay. I know that humiliation and I know that pain. But this girl was coming off of a bus, off the emergency elevated exit of a bus. A little girl, and she plants her face, arms out like she was making a snow angel, face first, and just pass. And I couldn't turn my eyes away fast enough. I mean, just, oh Lord. I closed my eyes and put my hand up. Jeez. Poor child. I hate watching stuff like that. Because even that flash was in my head and it's going to live there for days. I don't even know why I started talking about that. But there it is. So, anyway. I really don't know why I talked about that. All right. Well, thank you for coming by. Thank you for talking with me today. It turned out to be everything that we talked about today. It was just that one topic, which is fine. I look forward to seeing you next week, and take care of yourselves, and we'll see you around, okay? Bye-bye.